Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the second session of our Survival is Profit series. My name is Azra, and I will be your moderator for this session. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Let me remind you a little bit about this series that we're having. This Survival is Profit series is specially created during this challenging time for us to be able to help business owners, especially the SMEs, by sharing what we know as industry experts, answer the questions you might have about the topic that we're going to discuss, help you with your concerns about your business. And most importantly, the objective of this series is to give you values and tools to survive in this new climate. Okay, so these live sessions that we have been having, and we're going to have more in the future, will be conducted regularly in a series with different topic coverage every time and different speakers and different panels. So we do encourage everyone to to join more of this session in the future and keep checking our social medias, our newsletter for notification on our next sessions of Survival is Profit series. All right, so our today's session, our guests of honor and speaker today are two very highly achieving people in their industry. It is with a great privilege for me to introduce you to our two speakers of today. Our first speaker is the founder and CEO of PanPages Trinity Group, Mr. Christopher Ng. Let me give you a little bit of background of Mr. Christopher Ng. Mr. Christopher transformed the traditional directory business to an all-rounded digital marketing solutions, and he's been focusing on his services to SMEs. He has been keeping up with the evolution of digital marketing technology for the past 2 decades and has worked with various industries over the years. Our second speaker for today is a partner, corporate and commercial at Donovan Ho legal firm, Mr. Shawn Ho. A little bit of background on Mr. Shawn Ho. Mr. Shawn heads the corporate law practice of Donovan Ho firm. He has been actively advising businesses through their startup journey, from vehicle restructuring, licensing, protection of intellectual property, to preparation for fundraising. Mr. Shawn was named as the recommended lawyer for mergers and acquisition in 2018 by the Legal 500, after his firm was also recognized in the same category as a recommended firm in 2017. So from this background history, you can agree that both our speakers today has a very impeccable credential, and I'm sure that all of you will learn a great deal from the sessions today. So without further ado, let's invite our speakers in. Hi, Mr. Christopher. Hi, Mr. Shawn. How are you?
Hi, Azra.
Hi, Azra. Hi, Shawn.
Hello.
Hi, Chris. How are you?
Thank you for being in our Survival is Profit series. Many of our clients, even though it's this series are designed for Malaysian clients, but there's also our clients from Vietnam, Cambodia, and Thailand tuning in. This series has been designed to support our clients in these trying times, so that we can, gather all our resources, and together we can win this pandemic. And a lot of knowledge and a lot of sharing that we've gathered, and a lot of data and insights that we gathered through various partners like our partner Google, Facebook, and Alibaba. We've also gathered a lot of insights from all our other branches in the country, within the country, and also outside of the country in Southeast Asia. So thank you so much also for being able to come in and share with our client base. Should be about 4,000 of them are invited. I'm not sure how many of them are tuning in now. Hopefully, sure. Yeah. Some of them might not be able to join in the live session now, but probably they will go back and later on look at the recordings of this session. So hopefully your expertise in the legal arena will be highly this highly sought after because we had the session before and there was one of the highest voted requirement that the SME say that they want to know more about the legal aspects in terms of going to digital or even in this kind of pandemic situation, how do they protect themselves or be protected, what they can do and what they cannot do in terms of the legal aspect.
Indeed.
So
thank you very much for giving me the opportunity, to add some value here and do my part as well as, to help everyone as much as I can. And really an excellent initiative. I think a series of talks, with various professionals and perspectives is helpful even for us as lawyers. So thank you very much for the chance.
Great.
Thank you. On behalf of our audience, I would also like to say thank you to both of you for spending your time on our series, Survival is Profit series. So I'm sure that all our audience today are very much looking forward to the knowledge and insights that both of you are going to share with us today. So for the benefit of our audience, let me briefly explain what is our agenda for today's session. Today is going to be split into 3 parts. The first part will be a presentation by Mr. Christopher Ng. His topic will be moving your business in this new climate part 2. So everyone in our audience who actually joined our first session will be most benefited because this will be the second part of Mr. Christopher's presentation. And the second of the agenda today will be conducted by Mr. Shawn, and his topic will be on the legal aspects of taking your business online. So I'm sure a lot of people in our audience has a lot of concerns, especially on the legal aspect, whether it's local law about their businesses or anything. So to our audiences, this will be the time for you to ask questions during Mr. Shawn's presentation later. And the third part will be our Q&A session. So all these questions that you guys submitted in the comment section, we will get to it as much as we can during our Q&A session. All right, okay, so without further ado, let's start with our first session. Mr. Christopher, are you ready?
Sure, let's dive in.
Okay, let's get to it.
So as what Azra has mentioned, this is a part 2 of my previous workshop, previous presentation. We talked about quite a number of things, and this Survival is Profit series is mainly geared towards helping the SMEs to pivot and to survive during this kind of trying times and this new climate. But in order for us to move our business accordingly in this new climate, they say the new norm, you need data, you need insights, you need to see how other people are doing. So some sharing and case studies will be shared. First, before I start, maybe in the live comment section, you can try and see and type in your comments. And also, any questions that you have for us, you can also put it into the live comments now. I encourage you that. And of course, also there will be some questions that I want to throw into the crowd. For those of you who has joined us for the previous workshop, I would like you to maybe, if you can, put into the live comment, what are the takeaways that you've applied since the last workshop. We've covered quite a various of topics. So one of it is key emerging trends. Okay, we also talk about what are the new trends coming up, the non-contact revolution, staying home, staying human, and of course also some industries like the food items and all that is emerging. So if you missed the session previously, you can go back and get the link from our clinician, any of our consultants, or you can visit our YouTube or Facebook page so that you can get back the link and rewatch the previous workshop series. So just now the question that I posed into the crowd, what takeaways that you've applied since the last workshop? All right, so put into the comments so that we can know, we can see, we can share. We also covered last workshop problems that the SME face. We covered about employee adjusting to remote working. We've also see that how to maintain customers' revenue, how to maintain revenue and how to maintain customers. Of course, also we have many SMEs also concerned about the liability of customers and staff's health, cash flow, and uncertainty in terms of future. How do we pivot the business? So these are the few problems that we covered last workshop. Of course, we also shared the Ramadan Malaysian insights, and we also covered and shared with you some of the businesses that gained success in this new climate. So last workshop we covered Easy Home, Joe and Tara's, iMagic Solution. We have Mayer, Mistral, and even Forest Cabin as well. So these are the few that we've covered last workshop. And just a refresher as well, we talk about the best practices for the SMEs in this new norm, the 5 Ps, right? People, product, price, place, and partners. Okay, this session I will dive deeper into the 5 Ps, so that because there's a lot of requests from last workshop to go into deeper in terms of the 5 Ps. Last workshop also we covered a little bit on action plans for the SMEs. We shared about the marketing best practices like focusing on retention, right? Whatever now you do, focus on your existing customer, retaining those customers. Then, of course, we also talk about adapting into digital marketing. And we talk about internal digitization. How do you move your own team and train them up to be more digitized? And also creating conversion pages online so that you can make your clients or get more leads, get people to have a call to action for them to do online. And of course, prioritize website performance, the speed, mobile, make sure there is full mobile now because there's a lot of people using mobile. And of course, custom your product bundling. So that was the few best practices that we covered last workshop. And of course, the 6 crucial themes that I shared as well in the last workshop. The cash team, making sure the cash is enough. The revenue team, getting more revenue. The cost team, cutting the costs. Customer team, making sure the customers are okay. People team, right? All the other people in the team, your staffs and all. Communications team, what are the platforms that you use? What are the tools? What are the softwares that you need to use? So those are all from the last workshop. So let me come back to the live comments. What takeaway that you've applied since the last workshop? So I see Nelson Chai say you started to adjust your staff to work from home now. Very good. Yeah. Like I said before, the companies that can actually change or adapt to remote working will be the ones that will win in the future. Who can adapt to remote working the best will have the cutting advantage amongst all your other competitors, right? Nelson Chai, very good. We see also Yi Kok Lui. Do you have slides to reply after this session? Yes, of course. You can reach out. We have a worksheet that you can see later on. We put into the live comment section. You can go to that link, and that link will help. You can go into a live worksheet, and that worksheet itself will help you to design your action plans. We have consultants all standing by. Even I myself also will look at all these worksheets that you submit so that we can help you design an action plan. Like how do you apply specific things that you learn from this workshop into your business? Okay. All right. Jonathan Chu also say the suggestion to create few teams for business continuity are great. You tried to assign these roles to existing team. Yeah. So the 6 teams, right? The revenue team, the people team, communications team, the cash team, the cost team. So it's very important that you have people who are focused and what I call that, focus into that specific aspects, right? All right, so let's go into today's session. That's good. Keep the questions and keep the Q&A questions coming in the live comments. Okay, feel free to continue to ask any questions. Later on, when we have the Q&A time, we can pick up all your comments to give you your the answers for you. right? So let's look at the current market situation this time. We've also partnered with a lot of intelligence companies, data companies, and also we can get a lot of fresh data. You can see the time spent during the MCO period now. You can see 73% browsing social media. And one thing for sure is the social media also becomes like a news media already, where you go to social media to get your daily news and updates. Watching the news is 68%. 64% is watching entertainment content. It can be Netflix, YouTube, and all. And you see 59%, are doing a lot of cooking and baking, right? So I think this is like a new norm. Everybody is trying to adjust to stay human at home, right? Even though we cannot go out as freely as we want to, but there's a lot of new hobbies that is started doing this MCO. One of it, the data shows, is cooking and baking. And of course, online shopping, 42%, because where else can you shop, right? So a lot of online shopping is going on. You can see also the news sources. Most Malaysians use Facebook to get the news latest updates. So you can see Facebook is still the highest from pre-MCO to present MCO. You can see Ministry of Health portals, official online portals. You can see WhatsApp, Instagram, Twitter, forums, blogs, LinkedIn also is in the top few charts. And top video channels, you can see YouTube is still the highest. Facebook Watch is also picking up. Netflix, iFlix, IGTV from Instagram, Hip TV, Tuntun, View, Dim Sum, and Amazon Prime. These are the top few as well. All right, so knowing those data means you know that actually this is how people are consuming content. This is how people are spending their time in the internet. So today I want to dive into the 5 P's as per your request. Many of you doing the worksheet you all put in, you all wanted me to share more into the 5 P's. So last workshop we talked about the 5 P's only very on the macro point of view. Now let's dive in deeper. Okay, we talk about people. One of the first P, people, to support the people that supports your business. We also have product, changing the product to focus on to deliver the critical needs now. Make your product to be able to help people now, not last time. If your product is fit for the pre-MCO times, then it's not fit anymore. You have to pivot and change your product to fit to the now. And of course, the price, place, and partners. So place, definitely you have to transform the contact points, right? From many like salespeople, from physical selling, now it's all virtual selling, virtual online selling. So partners also is one of the very good ways. So let me share and deeper with you on the 5 P's. So before I go on, I throw in another question to you all. Are you applying any of the P's in your business? Okay, if yes, put into the live comment, what P are you applying? Okay, what P are you focusing on? Okay, which are the 5 P's? Go back again, people, product, price, place, and partners. What are the P's that you are applying and focusing on during this time? All right, I'll come back to the questions I will pick up from the live comments again later. All right, let's dive into the business response. People. So you can see like Barilla, he put there, Barilla, they put a "We are proud of you" message put into newspapers and signed by all the founders of the Gildo brothers, like of Barilla. So all the names you can see down here, all these names, right? All these small names is recognized by the founders. And say 2,700 of these employees putting all their names and thanking them. Say we are proud of you, thanking them for pivoting, thanking them for transforming the business together with them and going through this kind of tough time. So that's one example, right? We also can see another example of people. Unilever, right? It helps the clients or whoever small, medium size suppliers they're struggling at the moment. to give them like an early payment. You know, they instead of dragging the payment, they give them early payment. They disperse and pay the suppliers faster, right? To knowingly that they have to take care of their suppliers as well, right? Which is a very good example of how you focus on one of the P, which is people. And another example is AXA. You can see they team up with a lot of charity funds and launched this called a Global Solidarity Challenge. And when the AXA employees use the hashtag like AXA Solidarity Response on Twitter, then AXA will donate $5 to support the healthcare services around the world. So it also helps and empower the people around, and also help the own internal team, the staffs, and of course the people around the AXA brand to be able to, you know, generate some traction, and also to support, to collectively help everybody to donate to this fund, which is also a very brilliant idea. You can see next we cover product. Okay, another P, AirAsia. So he opened up this e-commerce platform called Our Shop, right? And all these, like from logistic and to campaigning and all, they help the merchants to do all zero commission, zero listing fee, just to help them to market their products. So this is also a way how companies is, you know, pivoting and changing their product to suit the current needs now. And you can see here also from another example, Signature Brew, the beer. They also created the new product that complementing staying at home requirement. So let's say they created what you call pub in a box, right? Pub in a box. So you buy the whole box. It's like for you to have your own happy hour session, right? They have snacks, music, quiz, playlists of the songs, and glassware and beer, all as one box, in one box. So you just buy one whole box. Everything is there for you to start your happy hour session, right? This is how they pivot their products. Adidas also, you can see they enlisted a lot of local athletes and content creators to motivate the community to stay healthy. So they give a lot of free online trainings or online exercises, and also virtual experience during lunchtime for local artists, or get DJ live streams, and nutritional tips and workout streams for their community. So this is also one of the good way how you change your product to suit the now. And price, okay, like from Amsterdam, this Bold Amsterdam, now they allow customers to choose what to pay for a bundle of 200 tulips. So they'll send to you these tulips flowers, and up to you how much you want to pay. They allow you to choose what you want to pay, right? And they continue to have the industry moving forward, which is quite interesting. Tinder, you can see, now give free access. Okay, free access. The passport feature now easy to swipe for people to chat, and this is a matching social media site lah. So they also get like this passport feature. Usually it's paid version. Now no more premium, you get free. Everyone can use. Ford also, you can see they relieve their customers on their payment. So they launched those campaign promoting the tagline calling "Build to lend a hand," build for the right now. Okay, and they relieve these payments from credit borrowers to support the users. So it's also very good way that Ford maintains the customer service, maintains the customer as well. Okay, and you can see also Damakan doing a very quite interestingly. They changed the food handling method to minimize the customer rider contact by putting the meal, everything in the paper bag and place it in the customer's gate. Okay, then after that, they message the client or call the client 1 meter away from the customer. Then you call the client and say, okay, this is your food, is in this right hand side of your gate. So these are the few ways also that you respond and you change in terms of the place. Countdown also, they transform all their physical stores to become online store. Okay, so now they opened the first country's first dedicated online store, right? And the Countdown recorded 300% rise or of the website since the lockdown. So now they transform all its in-store stuff into personal shopper support. So online, you go there, they'll be on standby 24/7 to respond to you in whatever queries that you have about the product or the size or the price, whatever, they will be there to support you. And the countdown recorded about 300% rise of the traffic to the website. So the lockdown actually is better for them now, even though they have to close down all their stores, right? So this is one of the way how business respond to the place. The next P. Grab also collaborated with many merchants to offer free delivery for the daily necessity. So now they don't even charge some of the merchants, right, to support these their partners, right? And of course, also like a partner. Like for us, a good example is like this Survival is Profit series. We partner with multiple key opinion leaders. Last workshop, we had Alliance Bank Chief Business Development Officer, Juan Fozia. And we can also leverage on their alliance resources. Now we also partner with Donovan Ho, and we can cross each other's customer base. So that is how you can, pivot your business and work with other partners. So these are the 5 P's that you can actually think about how to transform the business with. So let's look at the answers. Are you applying any of the P's in your business? Let's look at the live comments here now. All right. Let's see. Okay. There's this Audrey. Yes, I will applying people in my business, like creating group chats or live chat for all my customers. That's good, right? So you created a group chat and or live chat for all your customers, putting into one place. Then you can have constant communication, taking care of them, listening to them. Very good. Nelson says, place is P that you focus in. Your team work from home and now having virtual meetings with teams and clients, which is good, very good. So yeah, continue to have focus into these 5 P's. Hopefully, with more time and effort that you focus on these 5 P's, your business can sustain and can go through this kind of pandemic. All right, let's dive into let me share with you some of the businesses that gained success during this new climate. Previously, we have shared a few. Now, let's check a few more. But before I go into that, let me maybe throw another question to you. What have you done to transform your business during MCO? So, if you can, put into the live comment, what have you done? Share with us. Okay, I'll come back to that later. Okay, let me share with you DreamPack. Okay, DreamPack Industries, they do double-sided tape, adhesives, paper tapes, plastics, stick pads and all. So outdoor sales greatly affected during the MCO. How DreamPack transformed its operation. They use Alibaba Gold Supplier membership to get the overseas inquiries. They subscribe to Google Ads as well to get the potential leads online, and converted all the outdoor sales consultant now to become online inquiry handlers. Right, so everyone is online and fully trained to use the virtual methods to talk to clients, and they rely a lot on Google and Alibaba to get those leads in. You can see also Tech3 Solutions. They do cloud and data storage services, cloud computing. So you can see they also started the digital marketing journey and gained a lot of exposure. And now they solve a lot of clients' issues through virtual meeting like Zoom and all. Right? And they're pivoting and they're transforming very, very well. Next, we have Behang. This is barbecue meat and chicken floss. So retail shops are forced to close, right? And so now what they do is very interestingly, you can go to their Facebook page, you can see that they have a lot of new and improved recipes and live virtual recipes and cooking sessions. How to use chicken floss to make a very special cake, or how to use the bakwa, or how to use the barbecue meat to make specific sandwiches, or even how to make your steak, combine the the barbecue meat with your steak to become a very special dish. So all this is also how business are transforming very, very well. Some good example. And they do daily live stream to sell their retail product. And of course, their e-commerce site is very good. So you can just buy online and then they will send to you. Okay, and all the promotions that they also have on a weekly basis. Good Life Group, they are doing car chemicals, automotive accessories, and many things about the cars. You can see also they switch to e-commerce and digital marketing to sell their products, and they receive a significant sales orders, pre-sales orders through their digital marketing initiative. And the Pullman Shop, right? You can see that they also move into a lot of digital marketing, and the number of leads received is more than pre-MCO time. Because why? A lot of people now is starting to have their own mini pools for their kids and all at home. Right? You cannot share. You cannot go to the public pools or the one that is open to public. So now you have your mini pools and all. So all the leads come even during MCO, better during MCO. 2S Packaging, they do packaging materials, tapes and stickers, and also you can see that they also focus on digital marketing. If you go and search 2S Packaging, you can see it's a lot of digital assets. They have their Google, they have their Facebook, they have their Alibaba's all. Now they have they reported about 107 new clients in a month, right? And they acquired about 380 clients during the MCO time, which is a very good amount, good number. So these are the few success stories that we've gathered. Every workshop that we will share new ones with you. You can try and see whether you can take some of these ideas and apply in your own business as well. Right? So let's go back to just now the question that I posed in. What have you done to transform your business during the MCO? Let's see what are the replies here. Joab Wong says, I started applying products, start to create new FB page. Oh, that's for the 5 Ps just now, all right? Good, you start to provide product. SM Ong says, hi, even most business already open now. Company sales is still uncertain. Is this the time to be cutting? Sorry, I'm not very sure what does it mean. Even most businesses already open now. Company sales is uncertain. Is this the time to be cutting? I need SM Ong, you need to rephrase your question. Cutting what? What do you mean by that? Are you saying that you transform your business by cutting people? Okay, I'll come back to that later. All right. So let me continue and see now best practices of for the SMEs in this new norm. So CMCO is now extended to 9th of June. So what is next? So you have to see, like previously I shared before, highly likely it will be like we call the intermittent MCO approach until the vaccine is found. Before vaccine is found, you're always going to be social distancing and issues like we are facing now. Okay, so there will be travel restrictions and also probably new waves coming in, new infection waves coming in, new clusters. You just need one person to suddenly trigger again, right? So we are predicting that by the whole year also it will be affected. So it will be quite some time until we bounce back. So in order for us to pivot, you need to take it as and accept that this is the new norm already. Convert your task force from offline to online, O to O. So people are outdoor sales, move them, train them to become online influencers, right? Using all the social media, all the communication tools that is available. Okay, you don't know how to, reach out to us. We can support you as well. Outdoor canvassing, usually now have to transform to social listening. So go into the internet world, go into the social media, talk to people, put in, blast out, create content. Then you'll be able to listen and see where are the potential clients that or prospects that you have. And of course, face-to-face pitching. Now all move into virtual appointments. So you have to train. There's different techniques to do virtual appointment, right? So how do you share screen? Your presentation probably will need to be very precise, less wording, more images, kind of changes. So this is a few ways that you change. Here also, I like to share like how Daikin, the big air conditioning brand, how they also continue their factories and all. It's a 5 minutes video, but let me just run it through a little bit to show you a little bit of how the new normal for Daikin is. All right. So you can see this give you an example, some idea of how you have to change. Businesses are changing and transforming to fit the new normal. And of course, the action plans of SME is you have to find ways to pivot, right? So of course, in the back of your mind, how do you reduce and abolish all these wastages? It could be people. Just now, one of the questions, cutting people. Is possible if you have to look at your business, how is it changed already? Do you still need that particular position in your business? Or specific tools that you don't require anymore? Like for us, now even though it's a CMCO, we are actually allowed for MIPI to go back to office, but we don't, because we don't have to anymore. Then you have to rethink, do I still need such a large office space for my people? It could be a longer term for working from home. So what are the wastages that you can abolish? Look at that as well. Your cost team can help you do that, right? And of course, buy smart. Many people will think, oh, marketing, cut marketing because it's just keep the cash first. But one of the few things that you should not cut is marketing, because you have to continue to get those revenue in, right? And this is also a good time for you to put your brand out there, to let people know what you're doing, how you're pivoting. But your products must be suitable for the now, right? And of course, change the way you do things now. You have to have a team of the 6 teams that I talk about, the people team, the communication team, and think of how can you transform your business to fit the now, right? Ultimately, you have to cover the whole ecosphere, we call, right? See which are the channels that's suitable to you, right? Of course, being all channels is the best, but not all channels will give you the right audience, right? So you need to know who your target audience are, and then how do you actually move them from all these different channels towards your landing page. We call it the conversion page. You want them to buy things from you, or you want them to give you an inquiry, or you want them to just call your salespeople or call you. What do you want them to do? So all this content that you put into the internet, drive them towards what we call a call to action place. Ultimately, it's for you to build your data bank, the community that you want to serve, right? It could be your ex-client, it could be your current in-service client, it could be your client's friends and community. So that part there is what we call your data bank, and track each layer. Whether all these funnels that are you tracking, is people aware of you, and how many % of those who are aware of you, your business, are considering you, and how many of them who is considering you are purchasing from you, and those who bought from you, how many of them can you turn to become your loyal and returning fans, right? Loyal customers. So you need to go into a data-driven digital marketing journey. So hopefully today's session, I cover more on the 5 Ps, and hopefully I'm also excited for the next session, which is Shawn's session, to cover on the legal aspect. So hope you got something out of it, and do put into your worksheet, work on the worksheet, so that our consultants and our team of Trinitians can support you and can help you find some action plans. You don't need to be many of the action plan. It could be just 1 or 2 ideas that you can maybe apply it straight away, immediately during the week or the month. All right. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Christopher. Thank you so much. We can see that many in our audiences have started asking questions. But don't worry, we'll get to your questions during our Q&A session later. So if you have any more questions about Mr. Christopher's presentation just now, just keep putting it in the comment section and we'll get to it later. So for now, we'll get to our second session of today. Okay, our second session will be conducted by our guest speaker, Mr. Shawn. He will be sharing with all of us on the legal aspects of taking your business from offline to online. So Mr. Shawn, if you are ready.
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay,
All right,
I'll pass over to you now.
All right. Thanks, Chris, for that earlier sharing session. Very, very insightful. And when you were talking about the business of Bi Cheng Hiang, how they transformed their business into cooking programs and recipes, I was just thinking to myself during the MCO, the main transformation that happened to me was my waistline, thanks to these videos. All right. So anyway, for those of you out there who are interested or find an urgency in taking your business from offline to online, I hope that the next 20 to 25 minutes, I can share with you some tips, okay, and some risks to be aware of, some certain things that you have to do from a legal point of view when you do decide to take your business from offline to online. So I'll just jump straight into it. All right. So basically, I will have this in a frequently asked question form. I think before any business actually jumps or pivots onto the online world, the very first question that one should ask is really this. Most of you will be asking, should I have my own website? Developed by a web designer, or to use, all those free services out there that can create a very good website for you, or should you join a third-party platform? Okay, so just to plan out what exactly does going online mean is very important, and these are just some key considerations when deciding between these two categories. Okay, of course there is a spectrum of options, right, between self-owned to third-party. Some of you might think, depending on your business, just having a simple landing page, will do to receive and funnel traffic and for calls to action. That might suffice rather than building a very elaborate a website on your own. It really depends on your business model, but generally speaking, the considerations are these: cost. Okay, first and foremost, designing your own website and depending on how many features there are on a website, payment processes and things like that, fulfillment of orders. This will factor into the costs that are incurred to you. The speed at which you can actually launch, such your products online to be fulfilled. Okay, perhaps a third-party platform joining one of the giants like Lazada, Alibaba, or if you're providing services, perhaps Workana. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You can just put your products there, open a virtual shop within the platform like that, what we call a marketplace. That might be much faster and perhaps much cheaper. One of the other considerations, of course, is any third-party fees that all these platforms may impose, right? And this will, of course, eat into your margins. The price to pay, for joining a giant or marketplace that really enables you to sell your products very quickly and even fulfills the orders for you. They might charge a big, administration fee from your top line. Okay. Another thing more practical to consider is the back end infrastructure. Okay, and whether you can actually you have the team readily trained there to take orders and to correspond with your inventory, your supplies, and to tally to see if you have enough supplies and to fulfill the order. Okay, these are things you have to really plan out and think about. On the other hand, the front end traffic, driving traffic to your website. If you have a self-owned website, it's not easy. And of course, we have experts like Trinity, PanPages, and Chris to help in such an endeavor. But driving traffic to your beautifully designed website is really key, and it takes time. Okay. Another point to bear in mind really is more in the distant future. Who will own the data? All right. Is this data very valuable to you? If it is, then perhaps having your own website design and you can capture all this information of customers and users and such data will be better than a third party platform. Okay, and of course, the final one would be the legal T's and C's. What I mean by this is that if you do join a third party platform, typically they will prescribe their lengthy terms and conditions for you as a merchant or a user to follow. Whereas if you have your own self-run website, to a certain degree, you can come up with your own T's and C's, and there's more flexibility there to include protections for your own business. All right. So, second question is this: what are the key legal documents for my website? Well, of course, no one likes to hear this kind of question, right? And to a lot of people, the legal compliance or legal documentations is pretty standard even for a website. So today, I will just share with you 3 key legal documents or terms and conditions that you should have. They are not very lengthy, not too difficult to produce, but there are certain things that I will elaborate on later that if you do decide to, it's very common for people to copy and paste from other similar websites. Just be careful because the World Wide Web is so big out there. Make sure that any T's and C's or legal documentation or terminology is suited for Malaysian laws. All right. So the 3 key things you really need is this. The first one being what we call a website terms of use. All right. And in some websites, really the terms of use really just regulates what a user onto your website can or cannot do. For example, they shouldn't copy your intellectual property. They shouldn't misuse your website or hack into your website or reverse engineer what you have on your platform. So these are website specific. Okay, what the user can or cannot do on your website. Okay, and these I would say are quite standard. Your cookie policy, your beacons, your tracking devices, things like that. All right. By and large, nothing too complicated there. The second set of legal agreements, I think it's a little bit more customized to what you actually offer online. Okay, if you are providing goods or services, okay, then these T's and C's, and there are so many business models out there, right? B2B, B2C, B2B2C. So these terms and conditions, I would say, are your operational T's and C's, okay? And it really depends on what you're offering. So I would say for this particular set of T's and C's, do consider getting some legal advice or be very, very careful and think through them before you actually implement these T's and C's. And I've just listed out some key points here. Let's say for an e-commerce type business, okay, the terms that you have for fulfillment, delivery timeframes, do you charge for delivery? Do you provide free delivery? Okay, how is payment made? Do you release payment when you collect it from somebody within how many days? Okay, refunds, product refunds. If there is a rejection of goods, how many days do you even offer refunds? Or is it a product replacement? Okay, all these things impact your business directly. Okay, and of course, the favorite of among all T's and C's, always in bold and caps, your disclaimers and your limitations of liabilities. Okay, and why I say these are important really for you to customize specifically to what you can actually deliver and what you want to be bound by is because also from the business point of view, imagine if you're a company that sells products and in your haste or in your rush to go online, you just did not take into account these conditions, the blowback or the backlash that could come about online. How social media is these days, it could go viral, and these are risks that you also want to be cautious of when you take your business online. All right, reputational risk, we call it. Okay, the third and final document, I would say it's quite simple, not a complicated one, is what we call the privacy and data protection policy. Okay, I'll run through a couple of those later, but essentially this really is one of those small little links that you see at the bottom of most websites to say this is our privacy policy. You know, this is how we deal with your data and what we do to protect it, so on and so forth. Okay, so just these three legal documents is what you really need. Okay, next question is this: are online terms and conditions legally binding? Okay, so this is a favorite, very popular question right here. I would say that the simple answer is yes. Okay, even though it's an online, is a big world out there, you know, these terms and conditions on your website will be legally binding in Malaysia. All right. And the authority for this is really under the Electronic Commerce Act, and you can see here it's quite an old act, 2006 2006. So it's been around for a good 14 years. Okay. Basically, this act just facilitates e-commerce, all right, and the entry into contracts electronically. In a nutshell, it really gives authority to the fact that any contract, okay, that is formed electronically is legally valid. Okay. And they will not be denied legal effect just because it's online or digital. Okay, so I give you an example. If you have a website, all right, and you have your T's and C's on the website, and the user goes onto your website, um, surfs around, and if he responds to the call to action and places an order, you will typically have certain steps for the user to confirm or the buyer to confirm that they want to proceed. Okay, such action, we can say that it's acceptance by conduct by this purchaser or this user. Okay, of course it will be better if you can somehow design more specific actions like clicks. Okay, requiring the customer to click to indicate, do an active step to click to proceed or to agree to certain terms. All right, so online terms are binding. Okay, so be very careful what goes onto your terms. Okay, now I just want to share with you also, are there any specific information that really needs to be on your website? Okay, and most of you will be surprised at this. Okay, the answer is again yes. And there is also a specific set of laws in Malaysia, okay, called the Consumer Protection Electronic Trade Transactions Regulations. And this is 2012. All right, also not too recent. You know, it's been around for a while. But basically, in a nutshell, what this regulations requires is that it applies to any person or business. All right, that operates a business through a website. So very very broad here, or an online marketplace, okay, which supplies goods or services. So you can tell the applicability of this is really wide. Okay, even if you have a business just through a website that you designed yourself through Wix, okay, or if you join a marketplace, like Alibaba or Lazada, these are certain things. This law applies to you. Okay, if you decide to then open up an online marketplace, all right, there are certain additional requirements imposed by these regulations. All right, so an online marketplace, it's defined here as basically a website where goods and services are bought and sold and marketed by third parties. Okay, so the operator themselves, they do not buy and sell products. It's just a marketplace where other third parties buy and sell to each other. That's an online marketplace. All right. So just very quickly, of course, these regulations have more detail, but I've just extracted some useful requirements for you here, given the constraints in time. Okay. But basically, the website has to have the identity and name of the trader or the company that is running the website, the registration number, okay, the email address and contact number. So these are all quite basic, but the key takeaway here is that a business who wants to go online, to do business online, you cannot remain completely anonymous. Okay, so you do have to list your company name, registration number, email, contact number. All right, you can't remain anonymous. Uh, there's a specific requirement for businesses to enable mistakes or errors to be corrected before proceeding to confirm an order. And this is again to protect consumers and people who are buying things online. Okay, so you need to, for example, prompt them or enable a go back button to rectify anything before the order is confirmed. All right. Operators of online marketplace, they are required to maintain records of the various traders' details for a period of 2 years. So this is unique to online marketplaces. Okay. And the final point here I've put in is basically to have the privacy notice. I think this ties back to the previous, you know, slide I had. What are the three main legal documents that you should have? So we actually have a, a legislation called the Personal Data Protection Act. I think most of you will be familiar with this. It has gotten quite a bit of news coverage, in the recent years. But basically, a privacy notice is required, and there are specific things and requirements under this PDPA that must be addressed in your privacy notice. Okay, I can give you some examples. Basically, the Section 7 PDPA requires the privacy notice to address what kind of personal data is being collected, how this personal data is being used, okay, who this personal data will be disclosed to, and whether the personal data will be transferred overseas or not. So these are just some things that must feature in your privacy notice. And this is where, again, we come across quite many instances where business owners they just copy and paste a very nice looking privacy notice, perhaps from USA or the European Union, which actually does not quite comply with the Malaysian law. Okay, so just be careful about doing so, right? Okay, let me just take you through as well some do's and don'ts, okay, when providing goods and services online. Taking businesses from O to O, there are so many business models, all right? It's not just e-commerce, it's providing of services, providing of goods. There are so many types of models, but for the purposes of the audience and the time here, I'll just focus on the e-commerce type of businesses, all right? So businesses that actually want to provide goods or services online. Okay, so these are some laws that and rules to principles to be distilled. I'll share a few certain things that you should understand. Okay, and I think a lot of this come down to protecting the consumer. So just bearing that in mind, most of us have experience with buying things online as a customer, and you do face some frustrations. You do face the skepticism. Before you enter in your credit card details, you do read the reviews to make sure that the trader is legitimate, so things like that. Do put yourself in the shoes of the consumer as well when you launch your business online. So one thing to be mindful of is that the Trade Description Act, okay, basically says that when you offer goods, okay, or supply goods, and this applies to both offline as well as online. Do not actually describe your goods or goods falsely. Okay, and that's really the main takeaway of this particular act. Okay, and false trade description really here is that you shouldn't then describe anything false. Okay, anything misleading as to the nature and specification of the goods that you're trying to sell. Shouldn't misrepresent the goods that it complies with a certain specification, or that it can do certain things when it really can't. All right, so these are pretty self-explanatory, quite common sense. I will just elaborate a little bit more as well. This is a commonly asked question here. Can I have one-sided terms and conditions? And of course, as a business owner, one-sided, by one-sided, they typically mean one-sided to protect the business owner and very, very favorable to the business owner, right? Rather than the consumer. Okay. Well, the simple answer is no. You cannot just have a one-sided T's and C's. Okay, and this is especially if your business is B2C. Okay, so if you are online, your business trading, selling consumer appliances, selling makeup, selling groceries, these are B2C businesses. And in Malaysia, we have what we call the Consumer Protection Act 1999. Okay, it's quite old, but it has been updated through certain regulations. And essentially, just know this: B2C businesses will be regulated by the Consumer Protection Act. And the Consumer Protection Act says that the suppliers nor the consumers, they may not contract out of the CPA. What this really means is that you can't have your terms and conditions drafted out contrary or denying the provisions of the CPA. Okay. So just for some knowledge, I will take you through a few features of the CPA that your terms and conditions, even if you put it very favorable, very one-sided, they will not be enforceable if they directly contradict what the CPA requires. Okay, and most of this, again, I would say, quite common sense if you put yourself in the shoe of the buyer or the consumer. So if you supply goods online, okay, or even offline, there are some implied guarantees to the consumer. Okay, so this include that the goods that you sell must be of acceptable quality. Okay, it fits that particular purpose that you claim it's supposed to do. All right, it will correspond to the description, so be very careful of the descriptors, how you describe the products. And you know, these days, even using social media like Facebook, Instagram, you know, people can sell so much product through all these kind of channels. But also beware that, you know, the description that you put on these social media does matter. All right, if you provide samples, you know, the goods that you eventually sell must correspond to the sample. Okay, and interestingly, for the bigger distributors out there, the supplier must make available facilities to repair the goods and supply spare parts for a reasonable period. So you can't just say, okay, sell your 4,000 ringgit Bugatti coffee machine, and after that the consumer asks you if there are spare parts, and you say, no, I don't. So these are for the distributors out there, all right? Okay, I've also come up with some interesting observations on the CPA. You know, the CPA actually prohibits businesses from offering free gifts with the intention not to provide. So this is what we call clickbaiting, right? And certain false advertising where you offer a free gift. You know, if you complete this survey and the gift never comes, all right, that's disallowed under the CPA. Interestingly, then, this is something which I think a lot of you will be interested in. Can the consumer reject your product, okay, once delivered? Well, the answer is very simply yes. The consumer may reject your product with certain reasons given to you, the supplier. And not only that, they do have a right to get a refund, or to get a replacement of the product if it's defective. Okay, so a lot of T's and C's will say no refund, you know, no replacement. Once sold, considered sold, right? Well, this is technically in breach of the CPA. All right. And also another thing is this, and this has gone to the Court of Appeal in Malaysia. This particular case, the Court of Appeal held that implied guarantees actually also apply to second-hand goods. All right. So for second-hand e-commerce players, right? E-commerce players selling second-hand goods, just be careful that all these implied guarantees do apply to the products that you sell as well. All right. Okay, so for supply of services, it's in a sense, it's a little bit different. Okay, there are also some implied guarantees, but it's slightly different because the services must be then rendered with reasonable care and skill, all right, and done properly with competence, basically. And the services has to be fit for a particular purpose communicated to the consumer. So, for example, if you're a freelancer, or if your company you know, is providing certain services like website design, and you say that you can design a AI bot, okay, to take certain orders and answer certain questions, the service provider must make sure that it can actually perform that function and purpose. Okay. Very similarly, a B2C type of business providing services shouldn't, you know, have engaged in misleading conduct, or have false advertising on the pricing, or, you know, bait advertising, offering false gifts and things like that, because quite similar as well. All right, here's a warning for everybody here. Again, this is not new, and you know, this has been around for many years. Okay, as you can see, the news article here is just way back even in 2011. But basically, if your business is a B2C business, all right, you sell to consumers, even online. Okay, a consumer that is unhappy, all right, with your service or your goods that are being sold, can very easily file a complaint or a case to the Tribunal for Consumer Claims. Okay, and there is a limit, a monetary limit for which a consumer can file a claim, and that's less than 25,000. I would say not very small, and this particular article here, okay, mentions how cheap, fast, and efficient it is for consumers to bring their cases to the Consumer Claims Tribunal. And in this particular case, it was talking about a consumer that wasn't happy with the maid agency. You know, maid agency fees are not cheap. They range between 15 to 20,000. All right, and basically, this consumer could bring and brought successfully a claim under the TCC. Just some quick features here. It's so easy for consumers to bring a claim to the TCC. They do not have to involve or engage any lawyers. It doesn't have to go through court proceedings, okay, which are a deterrent for a lot of consumers. The TCC actually claims they have a KPI to hear and dispose of their cases within 60 days. So relatively fast compared to the court process. Plus, it has, or the TCC's orders, okay, are as enforceable as if it were given by a magistrate. So these orders are legally enforceable. So for businesses who do B2C type of businesses, please be aware of that, okay? All right, my very last slide here is really to just bring some awareness to businesses that actually sell goods, specifically goods, okay? Not just B2C, but also to B2B transactions, okay? Business to business. So interestingly enough, some of you might think, hey, this is a bit of an overlap. Why we have a CPA and then now we have also a SOGA? Yes, you're right. In a sense, it is a degree of overlap. The Sales of Goods Act applies to both B2C and B2B, okay? And all the way down here is interesting here because it's a bit different from the CPA, where under the CPA, okay, the businesses cannot contract out of those provisions. Whereas under the Sale of Goods Act, the businesses can. So if you are a B2B type of business, your terms and conditions, if you contract out of this Sales of Goods Act default provisions, you are allowed to do that. Okay, and this is where also, you know, a trained lawyer who's familiar with this can help you to navigate if you are doing a B2B business, you know, what you should give, what you shouldn't give, and certain things that you can contract out of. This warrants a little bit of thought and study. Okay, so as you can see here, the Sales of Goods Act, it's also, I would say, quite similar, quite commonsensical. There are some implied warranties and conditions to protect the buyer, okay? Basically, that the seller must have the legal right to sell the goods. The buyer can enjoy quiet possession of the goods once purchased. The goods are free from any charges, encumbrances, or third-party rights to it. Okay, it must match the description and also the samples provided. The goods must be fit for purpose and of merchantable quality. Okay, so all these are just little excerpts of what the law, you know, sets out. And when you take your business online, you know, do not put your blinders on. Just be sure and be aware that there are still these laws to comply with. Okay, as you do comply with them in your offline business. So with this, it actually concludes my my talk. Over to you guys for any Q&A. We'll be happy to address anything.
All right, thank you, Mr. Shawn, for your presentation just now.
Very
Okay,
informative, Shawn.
yes.
Quite a time crunch, but I hope I covered a fair amount.
Yeah, I think now we know that there's some laws that is already written that we are aware of now, and
right.
yeah, we have to be able to, you know, understand also how the law is protecting us or protecting our clients or purchasers, right?
Yes. Thank you to Mr. Shawn and Mr. Christopher for your presentations just now. So we're going to be moving on to our Q&A session. But before we start, I would like to remind our audience about the worksheet that we have provided in the comment section. Okay, so do click on the link that we have provided in the comment section, or you can also see in the liner right below this video. Okay, that is the link to our worksheet. Okay, this worksheet is going to help you determine the main key takeaways from this session that you can apply to your business. There's even an assist to an audit report of your digital assets. So do take a look at all the questions that we have in the worksheet. It's definitely going to be beneficial to all of you who's listening to this live session right now. Okay,
I do
we're
see
gonna
a
get.
question from Jonathan Chu. May I address it?
Okay, hold on. Let me find it.
Basically, Jonathan Chu's question is this: what can I do if I find out that another company is copying his content from his website? And all they did was to just make some slight changes to the company name. Happens quite often.
Yeah, I've
Uh,
seen that happen.
Yeah. So this deals with the subject of whether that particular person or company has infringed any of your intellectual property. Okay. If you're talking about copying, some articles or some text descriptions of certain procedures and basically words on your website, this is what we call a potential infringement of your copyright. So it's a type of intellectual property called copyright that they could be infringing. Okay. If you find that they actually copied your images or maybe your brand name, your logo, and then just change their name, put their name in place of your logo, this could be an infringement of your trademark, okay, or your brand logo. So generally speaking, this sounds like it could be there could be a case of infringement. Okay, the difficulty here in practice is this: that let's say even you engage a lawyer to send them a cease and desist letter to tell them, look, you're copying my intellectual property, stop it. If not, you pay me damages. This is possible. You could do that to threaten them. But at the end of the day, you yourself have to prove that you are the true owner and creator of this text. Okay. So the question to you is this: your T's and C's, let's say your privacy policy, did you really create it? Or was it also adapted from someone else, right? And then with the internet these days, where is the origin of such work? You have to be able to prove that you actually produce this work. All right. So yes, you can take action, but that is a bit more complicated than that. Right.
Interesting. I've also seen recently also someone who posted that their competitor took exactly the same, just changed the logo and of course some design different, and then you put that. So how they spin this off in terms of social media method is they put it that, oh, we're so proud that even our competitors is trying to learn from us and train from us and all. And then I say, oh, you know how much effort we put into copywriting this and designing this and putting all this content,
Nice.
just to mention it out to the
Claim
fans.
that
And
you are the
they got a big
original
traction,
owner.
And
Nice.
a lot of people in the social media are saying, oh,
Yeah.
so good like you guys, you didn't even get angry and you just mentioning out to
That's
us.
fantastic PR. Fantastic PR.
Yeah, it's a very good PR, right? So there are
Yeah.
also methods like this in the social media arena. Yeah,
Correct. That's brilliant. Yeah, they say that imitation is the highest form of flattery, like, but sometimes it really goes too far. But they have really spun it to their advantage here. Very good.
Yep. I think we can also, there's many questions, right, Azra? Maybe
yeah, there's a lot of questions here. Let me get to one here from Jonathan S. Okay. He said, thank you for the forum. A lot has been said about digital marketing and growing digital channel, but will this end digital frenzy when life goes to close to usual?
means
I
like
think
after MCO, after the
yes, when
pandemic.
we are back to our normal life, will it end the digital marketing?
I think to put this in perspective is very simple. Digital marketing has always been around, right? There are some companies who already adopted digital marketing way before these pandemics and all. Like maybe back in 2010, PanPages Berhad, we tried so much effort, put in so much effort to evangelize the importance of digital marketing to the SMEs. Back then, we have our Malaysia Digital SME Day, right? Then we partner with the MDEC, the Matrade, SME Corps, Google, Alibaba, Lazada. Back then it's called My Taxi, now it's Grab. So we partner and try to evangelize. Everybody know, digital is important. Yeah, digital is important. but nobody really, not many of them really put a step in and say, let's transform into digital. Now, during this pandemic, we have so many inquiries, a lot of people reaching out to us and say, hey, how do I digitize now? How do I go online? How do I do this? How do I build my own website? How do I have a team of digital marketers? Now become like the driver becomes like a COVID. You see, COVID-19 become the driver for digitization. Of course, the question is, will life goes on as usual, like go back to before? I would say no. It's forever changed. It's going to be the new normal now. It's going to be the new methods of doing business, and digitization is here to stay. And everybody is realizing now that actually we spend much less time like commuting and wasting time not doing unnecessary things. That now you're so focused because you have all these online platforms and communication to each other. So it will be the new norm, and those companies who can pivot and who can adopt to remote working will be the ones that lead their industry, right? And of course, also the better that you can cover in terms of your digital presence online, you have a stronger edge. That's the fact. And of course, whether this whole thing will go back to normal or not, I would say it never going to back to normal anymore. This is already the new normal. And there's so much noise online, and there's so many people coming out and putting up content and giving live workshop, virtuals, social media tips, and so many, right? So how do you still continue to bring out your value proposition to your target audience within all this noise? So you have to be very clear, the user experience, what you have to really understand what your target audience needs and how you're going to address that. If you can do that amongst all this noise, then you will win the race.
All right. Okay, our next question is from Nurul Hazwani. I already promote our product at social media. However, since we are manufacturer, we only able to advise the customers to purchase through our distributors and retailers. How to make it more attractive?
Well, we have many customers who are manufacturers as well, and they don't do direct sell. They don't sell directly to customers. What we advise them to do usually is, of course, you as a manufacturer, you are the principal, right? So you have your distributors and your retailers to distribute and sell it off to the market. You as a principal, you need to be able to have a good brand. The stronger your brand online is, then it's easier for your distributors to sell, to convert, right? Because you have a more reliable brand online. So that's one part that you can do as a principal or manufacturer to ease your distributors. Second, you can also maybe in all your marketing digital assets online, let's say your Facebook page or your websites and your brand, you can list down all your distributors and also list them down and tell them, tell the market, these are the distributors and these are the appointed distributors. What are their strengths? If you want to, you can put there to help them market, to help your distributor market the product as well. Or you can, there are some clients of us, they allow the distributors to have their own way of marketing. They give them the budget, but they give them also a framework. Like, this is my brand pillar. This is our brand promise. So if you want to sell this product, this is the brand promise. So how you're going to do that is through digital marketing, through content marketing to establish that. So I'm sure if your distributor get more sales, you also get more revenue. So it's a whole cycle. So you are actually building an ecosystem for your retailers or distributors. So hope I answered your question, Nurul Haswani.
Okay, we have more questions about demand. Okay, this one is from Sylvia Chang. Demand has been slow the past month. I would like to know how to recover from this.
Definitely, I think many businesses, the demand is slower because there's a lot of fear in the market. And of course, there are certain businesses that you can't even, your operations are halted, are paused because certain raw material that you couldn't get. So what you need to do is instead of waiting for the demand, you have to create the demand. And how do you create demand? Is by you need to know who your target audience are, who are your potential customers, potential prospects, right? And after you knowing that, you have to study and see what are the pain that you want to relieve them from. What are the pain that they have? Or what are the gain that you want to create for them? Okay? And what are the USP or the unique selling points or the services that you can help them with? What are the solutions that you can provide? So we can call this problem solution format. You can call it pain reliever, gain creators format. So you need to be able to create all this kind of content, put it out to the channel that you think you have your audience are, your target audience are there. Then you pick up and see and push them through the funnels, like through your website, your landing page, or your social media. Push them through the funnel and see how you can convert them. So that's how you create demand. See, so usually it's pain reliever, gain creator, and your specific solutions to their specific problems. Yeah. Then only you can recover.
Okay, we have some questions for Mr. Shawn here. Okay, this one is from Avatar GJ. I'm seeing my competitors using my business name as an example in a bad manner in their social and websites content. What can I do to protect my business?
Okay, interesting one. So basically, what you have here is really a possible or potential case of defamation. Okay, and where the defamation, it actually takes two forms. Okay, and in your case, it's a written form, so it's possibly libel. So what this really means is that someone has, said or written something which might be untrue, and it causes your reputation to be decreased or diminished. All right, for example, giving you a bad review or untrue review, and it drags your business name in through the mud. Okay, what you can do is really to consult a lawyer. There is a remedy for this, and you could bring the person to court to sue them for damages, okay, monetary compensation. You could also get the court to grant an order to compel the person to take down or remove, those statements that are defamatory to you. Okay, so there are some remedies to do that, but the nature of the statement, whether it's really defamatory or not, you should consult a lawyer to really review the exact wording and the situation and advise you further. Yeah.
All right, thank you, Mr. Shawn. Okay, Mr. Christopher, there's someone very interested in your first part of the presentation before. Okay, how do I get the part one version of it from Yung Kwok Leong? If you can advise him where to get it from.
Well, you can reach out to our consultant. That's all online here. You just put in your email, and we can send you the link for the previous workshops. No problem.
Yes. Okay. Maybe our consultant can also put in an email address there for you to email us as well if you unable to connect to our consultant.
Yeah, this webinar series is designed not just for the live. If you are unable or miss the live workshops, you can always have the recording link to be sent to you. No problem. Many questions. Okay.
Yes, we have another question from Nelson Chai. Hi, Shawn. Can we have a disclaimer at our website if we don't have any legal advisor help us to create any privacy or cookies policy?
Okay, a disclaimer. Okay, the favorite disclaimers. Basically the paragraph in bold in caps, right? I'm not liable for anything that we sell you. In short, well, as I did cover in the slides, basically you can get copy a disclaimer, very very broad, very very favorable to you, to disclaim all liability. All right, but as I mentioned, there are still laws that override your disclaimer. Okay, and basically you'll find yourself in a situation where if really a customer sues you for whatever that you have breached, or you supplied them, let's say, a product that they're not so happy about, the Consumer Protection Act will still be there, and it will override your disclaimer. All right, so it's not to say that you cannot have a disclaimer on your website, is how effective it will be. All right. And when you really want to rely on it, can you really rely on such a disclaimer? All right. So I would say, as much as, it might be a bit more expensive to get a lawyer, or even a Malaysian lawyer, especially, to look through your terms and conditions, see if your disclaimer will really be enforceable, really can it protect you? I think it's worth the money, especially if you are going to e-commerce in a big way. Okay, and especially if you are selling to consumers. Okay, so this one-off exercise for your peace of mind, make sure you get it right the first time, and then you have a peace of mind to really scale up and launch, engage PanPages to really market the hell out of your product, and then you lower your risk in facing the consumer tribunal. All right.
All right, our next question is from Audrey Wansuan. May I ask a question? During the MCO, all business have been facing some financial impact. How to adapt our business model to reduce costs, short term and long term?
That's a very good question, but it's more on the business question.
Yes.
Well, I think overall, maybe I can take this. Overall, you have to look at your business model. So if you look at entire business model, it covers your revenue stream, your cost structure, the key activities, your key resources, your customer segment, your value proposition, your marketing channels, the partnership that you have. So that is what we call a business model generation. So you have that business model. So to simplify is to look at your revenue stream and your cost. If your revenue now is affected, then you have to manage the cost down to match the revenue. But there's also some gambles in between business, right? It means, do you foresee if you invest into this and it can return in the later on the future? So if you see there's financial impact, let's say you still have clients, but then you cannot have the collection. And then you have to look at the current team that you have or the resources that you are buying or paying. Are they too much for the smaller customer base that you now have? If it's too much, then you have to reduce. Or there's certain talents within your team that actually can do more than they're supposed to do, right? Then you maybe need to train them a little bit and ask them to do more things that you can bring up more revenue. So end of the day, everybody is talking about cash is king, right? So it's best that you have the 6 teams that I mentioned before in my previous workshop. You need to have your revenue team, the team that is focusing on getting new revenues. Then you have the cost team, looking at the cost, how can you trim, how can you cut. You also need to have your people team, making sure your people are all okay, safe, they are, mind, body, spirit, all okay, right? You also need to have your all the other 6 teams. So it's you have to adapt and pivot your business model. And to me, now the short term and the long term is just one term, right? It's the new norm. So nobody is better than advising you in your business model than yourself. You're the business owner. You should know how to pivot your business. Of course, joining all these workshops and all, getting ideas from other case studies and all will help. And then it will also trigger some ideas for you. And that's how you should move forward with. I hope I answered the question because it's quite a tough business question.
Okay, Mr. Griffith, we have a question that is right up your alley. This one, of all digital platforms out there, which is the best to focus our sales effort on?
Priya, right? So Priya, you should be asking another question. You should be asking, where is my target audience? If you know who your target audience, who are your target audience, then you should look at where are they. Are they demographically speaking? Let's say, are they young? Geographically speaking, are they young? Where are they at? If you know, let's say if it's teenagers and all, of course you can go into IG, Instagram, TikTok, all this. If they say I want specific business owners and professionals, then LinkedIn could be a good channel for you, right? So it depends on where your target, who your target audience are. Then only you decide on the channels, right? So whatever that works out, you need to know who your target audience are first.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Griffith. I think we have time to take up one more questions.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, this one is from Tan Shen. What can I do if my competitor is using my business name to advertise their business without my consent? I believe this is for Mr. Shawn.
Okay, I'll answer this very quickly. Basically, yes, you might have a possibility. You can consult a lawyer to look into your case. The lawyer can help you draft a letter to the competitor to basically get them to cease using your name. Okay, and if they refuse to do so, you can actually take them to court for some monetary damages. All right.
Okay. We have another question from Audrey One. This one is quite interesting. Can I use famous cartoon or WhatsApp emoji put in ads graphic?
Okay. So this is not a very straightforward
Probably
question.
copyright
Yes,
issue.
you're right. Yes, you're right. Nail on the head. This deals with intellectual property, and really the $1,000,000 question is this: does anyone own this particular graphic? Right? Does it belong to anyone who is, if it does, then you need to get a license to use this image or to download it. All right. There are some websites which allow you to purchase graphics. Okay, and that kind of website will give a royalty, or it's actually gotten permission from the owner for you to reproduce and use it. So you have to be very careful about downloading images or even going to other people's websites to download images, especially if it's not paid. Okay, just be very careful. It could be infringing that owner's intellectual property rights. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's
I
like
want to take.
in Instagram, right? Like stories. If you were, I have a daughter, 3 years old daughter. So if she likes to, sing Frozen, the song "Let
Yeah.
It Go" and all right. So if I take the story, and I put the background, the music, right? Instagram will block me, not allow me to play that music because
So
it's
smart, huh?
infringing. Yeah, so
And
it pick up
using
the
AI
sound.
to recognize it, right?
Yeah, to recognize the music. So
Yeah.
there are also this kind of protection layers in terms of
Absolutely.
technical.
Yeah,
Yeah.
even music and sound, all these
Yep.
intellectual property that can be protected and belong to
Yep.
people. So be very careful in using all this online. Yeah,
Yep.
good
That's if
example.
you pay for the images or the sound and
Correct,
all. Then
correct. There
you
are
can use it.
websites which allow you to do that legally.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay, we're already at 4:30, but I want to take one last question
Yeah,
for
sure.
Please,
Mr.
over to
Christopher.
you. You do the honors of having the last
Okay,
one.
this one is from Hariana Butward. Our online sales are mainly generated from marketplaces, but how do we create more brand awareness, especially on our Facebook pages? What content should we post to attract more audience and engagements?
Oh, okay, that's a very good question. So, if you know already that your online sales mainly generated from marketplaces, means you are already getting your community, you're getting traction or buyers already. Then you can do two ways. First, you can analyze the existing buyers that already bought from you, your clients. What are their buyers' journey like online? Where they went to before they landed on the marketplace and bought from you. If you can have that kind of data, okay, you can able to roughly gauge where they went to, then you focus on those efforts, on those kind of content. It should be, let's say, example, usually how we plan out for our clients is you should have like, what you call that, a content pillar strategy for your social media. So you specifically already know that these are the specific pain that you want to relieve, gain that you want to create, and what are the unique selling points that you have, what are the solutions to those problems, and you create those kind of content pillars consistently, right? Then you create the kind of awareness in the market, and then drive those audience that saw all this content, or read this content, or watch all this content, whatever format that you put in, drive them towards those marketplaces that you can convert them to, right? So it's like a cycle. After they buy, understand where they come from, and then retarget them again, come in. So that's how you build your brand online, right? But you should have a proper structure, you see, like there's a lot of best practices on social media, like don't put the daily content. It's too noisy for the followers. You should have, let's say, 2 to 3 posts per week is a good number. And what type of content should be a mixture of a specific content pillars. You need to know what your value proposition is and what is your brand promise. If you know that, then you slowly push out to the channels that you have. Then you check and see whether are those content driving those leads to you. If yes, then it's working. Double up in terms of those efforts.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Christopher, Mr. Shawn, for all the answers that you gave to the questions that we managed to pick today. At 4:35 p.m. So we're not able to take any more questions, but I would like to remind everyone in our audience about the worksheet that we have provided. Okay, in there, there's going to be an action plan to help you with your business, and our consultant will be able to assist you to design those action plan as well. And if you have any more business concerns or digital marketing strategy questions that you want to ask, you can also have it raised in the worksheet, and our consultant will be able to get back to you on those questions. Okay, before we end our session, Mr. Shawn and Mr. Christopher, do you guys have any last advice for our audience?
Stay tuned to our next workshop, retail, F&B, and real estate. I think there are some exciting ones. Do follow our social media pages so that you can get the hang of it. And of course, any legal advice that you need to, reach out to Donovan Ho. Shawn is one of the best lawyers that I have known. They can, easily help you, and is also very well versed in terms of the local and SMEs issues, business issues, in terms of the legal aspect. So, yep.
All right. Thanks very much,
I hope
Chris.
that you all got some good knowledge or some good ideas to transform your business in these trying times. Together we can win this. Kita support kita.
Yes.
To Trinity and beyond.
Okay. Thanks everyone.
All right.
Thanks.
Thank you so much, Mr. Shawn, for joining us.
All right.
Thank
See
you,
next time.
everyone in our audience. Thank you for all the questions. Thank you for participating. We look forward to see all of you in our next session as well. So thank you. Thank you again. Goodbye for now.
Bye.